Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to Zelma's Book Nook. I'm going to do my May wrap up on what I read. I need my Purple Saurus Rex, my mom's Kool-Aid. Cheers. Let's get into this. The first book I read for the month was Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. This one it looks short, but it actually took me quite a bit to get through it. I'm not too sure if I vibe with the writing style. I gave it 4 stars. So this was in 1666, and the plague had come in, and this little housemaid, if you want to say, ended up caring for a lot of people. She lost pretty much everybody in her family, like all of her children, everybody that she had loved. And it was about her overcoming and really persevering through the circumstances of what she went through. Children didn't survive a whole lot of illnesses. So what got me is that a lot of these, she's like mourning over the loss of her child, and people are telling her that she needs to not mourn, basically telling her that she can't mourn. And that's what a person needs. They need to process through everything. So, but back then, I mean, this was the 1600s, so it took me a long time to get through this. A lot longer. I should have been able to read it in one setting. I mean, it was 300, just a fuzz over 300 pages. I should have been able to read it in one setting, and I think it took me about 3 days, and I had to break up the monotony of the read. But I would like to still try another Geraldine Brooks book before I totally write off, buying more. I'm thinking maybe I can just get it on Kindle or whatever instead of buying it one, just because the storyline was great. Don't get me wrong, it was great. Oh, I got a $20,000 bill in here. Zimbabwe. Actual bill. The prompt was just orange on the cover. So the next one I read was The Hunger by Alma Katsu, and this was a retelling. This was a 5-star read for me. This was amazing. I loved every moment of it. It was a retelling of the Donner Party, but there was a paranormal aspect to it. I mean, the whole time I'm reading it, I'm sitting there going, what's going on? And I'm like shouting, and I'm like, what's going on? And I can't figure things out. And when I think I get things figured out, I don't. And it drove me crazy in that regard. But it was such a good book. It was definitely a 5-star for me. R.L. Stine put in a thing. Alma Katsu has one of the darkest and most chilling episodes in our history and made the story even darker, even more terrifying. And I swear I'm still shuddering. Caroline Kepnes, author of You for Today, equal parts unputdownable. Very true. And must put it down or I'm going to have a heart attack. It's so true. You travel into this book and there's no escape. Katsu is exceptionally gifted writer. Dread-soaked pages are with me every day as both a writer and a scaredy cat. I totally love that. I love that. And then Stephen King says deeply, deeply disturbing. It was a good book. I don't want to spoil anything, but it definitely took the whole Donner Party thing and made it really creepy. I've got goosey bumps. Can you see this? I got goosey bumps just thinking about this book. I loved it. I've been literally telling everybody to read it because if they like this type of books, you would love this book. I highly recommend. It was definitely a 5-star read for me. Next thing I read was a bonus book, and it was just for the summer, and I was about halfway through this book. So it's just something that I was taking my time with. It was Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer, 5-star freaking read. This was amazing. It was so good. So this is definitely, I'm going to reread this book. There's no doubt about it. Same with The Hunger. It's a reread for sure. Justin. Oh my gosh, I'm dumb with names. Justin is the most heartwarming guy that you want and that you hope for a significant other to ever be. To be there for you when you're down, when you're small, when you're anything. And he would just be there. Not force anything, not like ask 50 million questions, just let you be and be there for you. I was in a 20-year relationship. My last marriage was 20 years. And I thought I had that, but I was so close in it, I didn't realize the abuse that I was going through. And I look back and now I have PTSD from it. Still trying to recover. But my current husband, James, he is very much a Justin. When I don't feel good, he lets me be. He lets me be in bed and read all day. He will do the laundry. He'll do the dishes. He'll cook dinner. He will, and literally I could just text him and he's there in a minute. Just, he'll drop what he's doing and come immediately. I literally never have to want for anything. He's just there. He's so amazing. And reading this book, it was a breath of fresh air, and it had me definitely like really internalizing and thinking about my past relationship and drawing the comparisons between ex and my current husband and really see the vast differences. And everybody needs a Justin in their life. They really do. Everybody needs a Justin in their life. He's amazing. And of course, his dog, Brad. Oh. And you know what else I want to do? I want to find a freaking Toilet King t-shirt. If you've read this, you know. I want a Toilet King t-shirt. I gotta have one. 5-star read. Was Codenamed Sapphire, which is this one. It was my prompt for historical. I've been really going through all of my historical war books, and I pulled my last one, which is the Lilac Girls for June. I don't have any more unless I have them on my Kindle, which I probably do. I know I've got them on my Kindle, but I mean actual physical books. I'm going to be reading the last one. I'm probably going to be starting it up here soon. I was thinking like high 4-star, so I just rounded it up just cuz. So this was good. So Hannah, she barely escapes being captured by the Nazis. The only thing left that she was able to do was go stay at her cousin Lily's house. Now, she decided that she wanted to help the war effort, so she decided to join the Sapphire Line, which was a covert hide messages. Like, she was a painter, so she would hide messages within her paintings. And so that way the Nazis wouldn't think twice about it. And her cousin Lily ends up getting arrested and put into a prison camp. And so her cousin Lily is there, and then the rest of her family got arrested. Her husband and her child get there. And so Lily's been inside this prisoner camp because of something her cousin Hannah did. Hannah knows that even if she turned herself in, it wouldn't save her cousin, but she feels bad. So she still tried to do something, help her. Yeah, so the story is between Lily and her cousin Hannah. Hannah being a Sapphire, a secret agent. and Lily is inside the prison camp due to something that was not of her own doing. So I really enjoyed this. This was definitely a page turner. I loved it. It was something that I recommend because if you love, historical, you love anything with war. So this was World War II. You would definitely love this. Now, if I pit this up against The Women, both are 5-star reads, but The Women is just 50 million stars. Like, if I can give it more than 5 stars, I would. So, this one's a solid 5. This was a good book. So, definitely recommend that one. Mastering the Art of French Murder. This was freaking adorable. I loved this. It was so cute. 5 stars. I had a good reading month. I had a 5-star. I really did have a good month. I had a lot of 5 stars. This one is by Colleen Cambridge, and it's Mastering the Art of French Murder. Now, this is an American who is in Paris and learning how to cook French cuisine, and Julia Child is part of this cooking school as well. So Julia Child ends up being one of her dearest friends, and Julia the whole so this has got Julia Child. It's got murder mystery, like who done it, and mayo. Like, the trifecta is amazing. I'm smiling. I can't stop smiling. It was so freaking cute. And the whole thing about Julia Child trying to master the art of making mayo on top of the whole storyline was bar none. And Julia Child's sense of humor is freaking... oh my gosh. It was so cute. So if you love murder mysteries, you love cozy ones, you'll definitely love this. I recommend it. It was a 5-star read for me. I loved it. This one's a special edition. The original one has got the blue cover. This is more of like a gray blue, but it's got the sprayed edges too. So adorable. So that was a 5-star read. Mastering the Art of French Murder, that was a murder mystery prompt. And then next one I read was Her Sister's Death. This one I rated 4 stars. So it was a good one as well. So Val doesn't believe that her sister committed suicide. Something just doesn't seem right. She comes across, what is Martin? Is his name Martin? I can't remember. Terry Martin. I was so close. Terry, who is like a retired detective or something. I don't know. But this guy helps her on the case. He has his own secret agenda in with it. And so I don't want to go more into it because there was a little twist in the end. This is definitely a cozy mystery as well. But it had a little twist at the end that I really did enjoy when it came to why he was so invested in trying to find out if she was murdered or not. There was something more deep in there. So this one is also a special edition one. It's got silver foiled edges to it. So this one was a good one. I recommend that one as well. The prompt 2000 to 2010. So I decided to read Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder by Joanne Fluke. I read this one because it is a series that my mom is like non-stop talking about. She loves this series. She's been slowly reading through all of it. So I read this and then I turned around and watched the Hannah Swenson Hallmark movie based on this book. And it was pretty spot on. I mean, it was very close. The only difference was in the book, I believe she's a redhead, and in the movie, it's played by Allie Sweeney. She's, if you're old like me, you know that she was on Days of Our Lives. If you watched any soaps, you know she's our Days of Our Lives queen. And then she also was the host of Biggest Loser. But anyway, she's the main character in it. But it is super cute. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yes, I gave it 4 stars. It was just, what I really enjoyed in there was pretty much at the end of every single chapter, there was a recipe. So whatever she was working on in the book, they included the recipe. So because of this book, I want to make chocolate chip crinkles. Is that what she called them? Chocolate chip crunchies? Chocolate chip something. I don't know. Because of this book, it made me want to bake. So I need to make it. There was a lot of recipes in there that sounded so good. So in the book, she's coming up with whole new recipes. And she had put, instead of oatmeal in it, she didn't have oatmeal because she would make cookies for her sister. So she decided to put cornflakes in it. So that's where the crunchy element comes from. All right, next thing I read was a bonus book, just because I was just in a mood. So the month before, I read Every Heart a Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones. So I read Beneath the Sugar Sky, and it was just this much left in it. So I just decided just to finish off the book because I could, and so I did. So I finished it off. This one was good, but it wasn't as good as the first 2 books. So yeah, I finished this up just because I wanted to, because what I've been doing is, as I've been reading, I've been pulling off my shelf and putting on the bookshelves in the back corner. So that way everything behind me is nothing but my TBR that I need to read. Okay, so the next one was White Fang. And White Fang was a prompt that I pulled for cinema. And so White Fang, they had made into a movie. So before that, I had read The Call of the Wild, which didn't go far into this. It was only 80 pages. And then it went into White Fang. White Fang was a lot longer. Okay. So this was White Fang. So I read White Fang, and then this was all his collection of short stories. So I wanted to read all of it. So just so I can get this book finished. This is a book that was made in 1996. And my dad bought it for me. I was 15. So it's got the beautiful gold sprayed edges. I just love the look of this book. I love the vintage feel of it. But anyway, I read White Fang. This is all stuff that I've read before, but I just want to reread because my dad passed away in 2020 to cancer. And so it's just, when I feel like I'm pulling out stuff to read, it's a little bit of an homage to my dad. And so there's, I need to borrow Recollection Creek. I need to ask my mom if I could borrow it, because that's also one that I want to read, because that was my dad's favorite book, I think, of life. So I want to read that. But yeah, I've just been going through a lot of, like, I miss my dad, so I just want to feel close to him. And when I read my dad was a big reader, same with my mom. So the next thing that I read, I'm just kind of doing these. And then I went on and I continued on reading all the collection of short stories. And like I said, all of this right here was all of the collection of short stories. But the short stories were very quick reads, and they were fun. I mean, a lot of these, if you've read Jack London's writings, you'll notice a lot of these are not in the first person, not in the third person. It's from the animal's perspective, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like refreshing and different, and things like that. So there's that. I finished that. All right. So the next thing I read was Curvy Girls Can't Date Quarterbacks. This is the Curvy Girls Club book 1. I did read book 3 or 4 that's Can't Date the Cowboy before. And so they're interconnected standalone books. You could read them out of order, but there could be like a little spoiler in a book, like, because this one's based off of one of the friends. So yeah, they're cute. I do enjoy them. This was a plus size rep, was the prompt that I pulled. So it's something that I enjoy. It is young adult, so, but a lot of these are dealing with feeling like you're inadequate because you're plus size and you feel like you can't get the good looking guy. And then the whole idea of the good looking guy not wanting somebody that's plus size. So there's that in these books. This book in particular, it was a bet. Like, she was being teased, and the popular girl's like, I bet you can't do a date this guy. Beach Read by Emily Henry. This was my very first Emily Henry book. I've got another one on the shelf. This was Grumpy Sunshine, and everybody loves this book. I gave it 3 stars. I mean, it was a decent book. It was something that, yes, I would read more from the author, but would I reread it down the line? I don't know if I would. I struggled with the writing style more than anything. I don't know if I vibed with it as much. Like, I love Abby Jimenez. I've read 2 books from her, and I've loved, both of them were 5 stars. This one's a 3, so I'm going to give her another chance with that one. If that one doesn't give me more stars than 3, I probably won't buy more Emily Henry books. I just, reading is so subjective. So it's just one of those things where we all have preferences, and sometimes something just doesn't gel. And so I struggled. Like, I started reading Beach Read on the way home, or on the way to Hawaii, and I tabled it. I got like 6 chapters in or something. I tabled it. I never picked it back up. I didn't finish it on the way back home. Don't even know why I read The Soulmate on the way home. Don't know why. I should have DNF'd that sucker. But I figured, okay, well, it'll be a soft DNF. I'll pick it back up when I'm in the mood. And I don't know. I mean, it was a good story. I mean, it's something that I did enjoy the story. I just don't know if I gel with the author's writing style, I guess. The Luminaries. This is by Susan Dennard. And this one I gave 3 stars as well. But it's a high 3 stars. It's like a 3.75. Like, it was good enough to where I want to continue the series. I read it. It was a super quick read for me. I think I went into the book thinking it was going to be something else. So I was kind of disappointed when it was just like on the cusp of being what I needed in the book. And it just never got there. And I don't know if following books actually get there. Winnie wants nothing more than to join the Luminaries, the ancient order that protects Winnie's town and the rest of humanity from the monsters and nightmares that arise in the forest of Hemlock Falls every night. And it was just one of those things where nobody really believed Winnie when she said that there was monsters in the forest, that there was things going bump in the night, there's weird stuff going on. So, I don't know if this is young adult, but if it's not young adult, it should be classified as young adult, because it definitely read young adult, like middle schooler to me. And I think that's why it didn't have more stars to it. I needed more I don't know, horror, like scariness to it. Like when you see this, what do you think? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Gold on the cover. So the next one I read was Butcher and Blackbird, and I think the reason why I went from Luminaries to Butcher and Blackbird is because I knew I needed some slasher going on. I needed some horror, I need some slasher, and so this was what I got from that. This one was a romance between two serial killers. And I just ordered the second book on Book of the Month Club. I added it in as an extra. So this one was a good time. I am not like a super big like romance girl when it comes to like if you pull up Hooked and this, I prefer this over Hooked because I don't know, there was just Hooked kind of gave me some ick. There's a lot of ick going on, and I just don't vibe with that type of stuff. This was two people who do bad things, but they kill other serial killers. So, I mean, I feel my heart goes out to them because they're trying to do good, even though they're just as bad as the other people. But they're taking out the bad. They're taking out the baddies. So in this, it became a competition. Like he would be like, "Oh, every summer during this time, whoever makes the first kill wins," and so it was a little bit of a slow burn. So when it did get to the romance side of things, it was easy. I mean, there was romance in here. Like I prefer a slow burn over just somebody going at it. I need the heart. I need the feels. So my camera died. I don't know where that left off. So the next thing that I read was Unravel Me. Oh, used books. So this was a used book. I bought all these used off of Pango, the whole set. And so this is book number 2. Now I've been reading this whole series with the novellas in between. So I'm glad that I have been doing that because book 1.5 is Warner's perspective. He was her kidnapper, her captor. And this book that goes more into Warner's more of a forefront character outside of him being her captor. Like he was kind of like a side character before, but now he's kind of coming to the forefront a little more with this book. So I'm definitely glad that I read 1.5 before this. This one was a good, the whole series has been a good solid 4 stars for me. It's been slow burn romance. Yeah, it's just been really good. And so she's been really, in this one, really trying to get inside of Warner's head, like to really try to figure out what makes this man tick and why he's so obsessed with her. So yeah, it's definitely, I'm super happy that I have this series. I can see myself rereading the series. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I think it would be a great TV show. And yeah, so this one was read. Court of Mist and Fury. So this is book 2 of Sarah J. Maas ACOTAR series. I gave this one a 5-star read. I definitely enjoyed this one better than the first one. And that's just because you had a certain idea of one guy, but then the other guy, you know, you thought bad things with this guy, and he's actually a softie. He's a little teddy bear, and so your thoughts shift from one guy over to the other. So in this book, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, what else is going to go on? And one who seemed to be the a-hole is the one that's treating her the best, and the one that swears up and down that he loves her and they're going to get married, starves her to death. Give the woman some food. If you love her, give her some food. So, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one. So, the third book I'll be starting for June. And yeah, it's a good read. I've been enjoying the series of her brain between Tamlin and Rysand. What's his name? Rysand. I hope that the third book is even better than this one, that it just continues to get better, because Rose Code, and this one was a 4-star read. Now this one was, oh, there it is, recommended by a friend, and instead of contacting said friend, I just took it on recommendation from the previous month when Andrea was like, hey, I'm reading the Rose Code. So I literally binged this book. This is a big book. It's probably about the same size of this book. It was about 550 pages. Like I said, it was a 4-star read for me. And it was about one girl in particular who got hired on because the guy who was in charge of the whole Bletchley Park thing, he really wanted girls who were good with puzzles. And she was recruited because they saw her sitting there doing a puzzle, like a crossword puzzle or doing some sort of puzzle, and brought her in there. And she felt that she wasn't very good because she doesn't know other languages. So she literally had to learn Italian and German on the fly. And one of the nights she broke the code that was coming through, and it was a big break. And so I'm getting goosies. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosies just thinking about it because it was so good. Anyway, I loved it. It was a bit on the long side, so there was some bits that got a little boring for me. I think that's probably why I docked it a point or a star. But I love stories like that. I love like war stories and stuff. So this was a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And if you love that type of thing, I recommend reading it. So it was a good one. Bonus one, which was Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. This one I threw in there because the previous month I drew a graphic novel, manga novel, and I didn't have a proper one. So when I promised that when I bought a proper one that I was going to read it. So The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, I read that. It was good. Super excited to get the rest of the books so I can read them. And I have my eye on the Kirby ones too, because all of us 80 kids, I don't know, Kirby and Legend of Zelda and like all of those things that we used to play on our NES and SNES, they're nostalgic for us. So, and I'm a gamer myself, so there's something that I just want to collect just to collect. And then I figured my son might want to read it one of these days. So, the next thing I read was Divine Rivals. I am so late on the train on this, but oh my Lanta. I see where people are freaking out about this book. So, it gives everything that I love, like historical and war, but then it puts this magical realism in there with this typewriter and being able to communicate with her enemy, through it. Yeah, it was so good. And this freaking left me on a cliffhanger. Oh my gosh, a cliffhanger. Why? I know why. So we would read the second book, which is, it's back there. So hopefully next month I can get into reading the next book, because I just keep thinking about this series, and it was a 5-star read for me. It was so good. And you know what I kept thinking about? I don't know if you guys even remember this. There was a movie. There's actually 2 movies, but they both have the same name. But the movie that I'm thinking about, and it kind of gave off the same like magical realism as what this did. So it just made me think of that movie, and now I want to try to find that movie. I'll put it up here. But basically, he finds his old antique desk, and he finds a letter in said desk, and he decides to respond to it and put it in the cubby. Well, it magically gets transported back in time to the lady who wrote it, and so she gets a reply, and so she decides, well, I'm going to write it back, but put it back in the cubby, not thinking anything of it, and it gets whisked to the present. Now I want to try to find this movie, and watch it because of this book. This book, like, gave me that, but in this, it was like current. You know, she would write it, he would get it immediately. Yes, 5-star read, so good. Going to the 5-star pile. My pile is getting bigger. My 5-star reads. The next thing I finished up Kilt Trip. That was something that I was like 50% of the way through. I started it like 2 months ago. It's just something that I was just picking up, like, if I didn't have an audiobook with my current reads, then it would be something that I would listen to on the drive to work and drive back home. So it took me 2 months to go through Kilt Trip, because I think I started in March. So I finally I just need to finish it off. And so I did. So I decided to just clean and listen, and I got knocked out. This gal going to Scotland, and there was a tourist guide, and there was attraction immediately between the two. Like, it was kind of enemies in the beginning, but at the same time, they're sitting there going, man, I hate this person, but why is he so fine, or why is she so beautiful, kind of scenario. You know what I'm talking about? That's what that was. So it was cute. What did I give it? 3-star. So, I mean, it was just a good time. It was a good time. And then I listened to Loch Ness Murder on Audible. And that one was because I didn't have anything else to listen to. I just had my physical books, and I was busy doing something, and I just don't want to not, like, have something. Because most of the time, if I can, I like to have the physical book, but then I'll switch to audio when I'm driving or doing something like that, and then I go back to the physical book. So this one, it was good. I mean, I would like to continue on with the series. It was Loch Ness Murder by Michelle Pariza Wakek. I don't know. It's the Charlie Kingsley mystery. Basically, the synopsis of it is she goes to this area where there's been some disappearances, and they were trying to call the little monster there Loch Ness, but technically it's not. They can't call it that because the lake is called something else, you know. Anyway, there was disappearances. She has to try to figure it out. That's what it was. It was super short, like super short. Was Compass and Blade, and this one was, so my last name starts with C, so Compass and Blade. So this one was pretty cute. This one, I definitely, if it's a series, I would definitely want to read more. It was a solid 4 stars for me. I don't have the book at the other house. And so this one was, she is a demi-siren? Is that what you would call her? Like, her mom's a siren, dad's a human. So that would make her a demi-siren? Am I just making stuff up? I don't know. But she doesn't know that she's a siren. Her mom goes missing, like forever ago, and she decides to rifle through a chest, and she wants to try to find out what happened with her mom. and she uncovers the secret that she is a siren, hence why she can be underwater for a long time. But yet, since she's part human, she can't be totally underwater for as long as what regular sirens can be. So it was her father gets kidnapped for a ransom or whatever, a pirate thing. I don't know what you want to call it. And to try to get her father back, she's trying to find what her mother hid for her so she can barter back for her father. And so it's a whole thing with friends getting involved. And I mean, there's pirates and sirens. What more can you want? I mean, it was a good time. It was a good time. And it was a solid, what'd I give it? 4 stars. Dragon Fruit. This was a 5-star read. This one right here. It was a 5-star read. I freaking enjoyed this book. So, 14. What is it? Let's see. There's one chapter in here that had me freaking going. Chapter 14. This one had my heart pounding like a son of a gun. I shed a tear over rescue. I mean, it was insane. My heart was just pounding. It was craziness. I loved it. I loved every moment of this. I wanted more. I hope that this is going to be a series. I don't know if it's going to be a series or not, but if it is, I'm definitely buying it. The only thing that I struggled with was all of the Polynesian names that are in here. And I'm actually really glad that they shortened a lot of the Polynesian names, like Sam. Like, I could never, try to... Yeah, Sam's name. Samatitmahanale. I'll put it up here on the screen. Samatitmahanale. Samatitmahanale. I'm so wrong, but I mean, the names. Even Hanale's name that's even a shortened name. So I definitely appreciate that the writer shortened names, because if I had to try to 17 letters in the first name, if I had to try to pronounce all these, I would shorten them automatically to Sam. Just saying, because Polynesian, that's something that my tongue gets so tongue-tied. Like when I was in Hawaii, there was so many things that I couldn't pronounce even if I tried. You can heal somebody with the egg of a sea dragon. The whole premise of the storyline is to try to wake up the queen of Tamarind, and because she's been in a deep sleep. She was, I think, poisoned. Hanalei was poisoned as well, but her father stole an egg from the queen, whatever, and saved her life. So because of that, she has got, I don't know, I don't want to give anything away. She ends up having a special bond with the dragons. Not only just knowing a lot about them because of the school that she's in, but because of this work, slave labor camp type of situation that she was put in as a child labor camp. So there's a possible love interest in here. They never explored that in this book, but the way it ended kind of gives me the vibes that there might be more. Hopefully there's more, because I want more. It was so good. I did not want to put it down. I binged it. Yeah, it was so freaking good. So if you have a chance to read Dragon Fruit, do. It was good. It was so good. So I just hope there's more. I really do hope that this is the start of a series. It doesn't say anything on the book. I don't think I remember anything. I mean, it totally could set up for more, but if it ends up ending there, I'd be kind of disappointed just because of how it ended. I mean, it ended on a good note, but at the same time, I feel like there's a love interest that needs to be explored that they never explored in the book. So, there's that. It was so good. Highly recommend. Another 5-star read. I finished Iron Flame. Now, this is definitely something that's been ongoing with my husband and I. We've been listening to it on Audible because he wants to be a part of the whole Fourth Wing experience. So we finished Iron Flame. I do want to get a physical copy. I have pre-ordered the third one. I love this series. This is a 5-star read for me as well. This was 5 stars. Another one to put on the pile. It was so good. There was a lot of people that were saying that the second book wasn't as good as the first book, but I just really enjoyed the storyline. That I didn't think anything. That's why I tried to not listen to a whole lot of how they're rating it. I don't like to pre-read any of that stuff because I don't want anything to be given away, for one, but two, I don't want anything to interfere how I feel about a book. And Iron Flame was another 5-star read for me. Same with Fourth Wing. So it was something that I really enjoyed. The next thing would be The Forest Grimm. I finished this one this morning. This one was a 4-star read. This is a retelling. This one has got like everything in it in one. And I so enjoyed this book that I want to read more from it. So this was The Forest Grimm. So it had aspects of Little Red Riding Hood with the grandma, Grimmare is what she called her grandma. And then it also brought in, it had Cinderella, it had Hansel and Gretel. There was a lot of like little other nuances that they brought into it. And then they left this on a cliffhanger that they're like, it's not done yet. Like, for now, everything is good, but there's more work to be done. So I cannot wait to read the second book. This was a 4-star read. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm halfway through the book Sisters of Fortune. That is the Titanic one. That's the one that I was supposed to be buddy reading with my god baby, but I haven't heard from her at all. So I just decided just to read it. And then if she decides to read it and then get back with me, then we can talk about it. So I just wanted it off my TBR because it was something that kept getting rolled over and I didn't want to roll it over for another month. And so there's also something else that is not in my list that I did read. And it was a reread of a book that I read the month prior. Now, the Soulmate really disappointed me so severely. So I read it because Soulmate was such a disappointment that I read The Night Swim because I needed a good thriller, and I read it and loved it. But then I got to reading that people were saying that I need to listen to the audiobook. So even though I read it on my Kindle last month, this month I listened to it. So glad I did. I feel like I missed some things in the first one when I was reading it, but it was what I really loved in the audio book was it was dramatized without it being dramatized. So when she went into her podcast and she's talking about that, it even had music that went into the so in the audio thing, you really got to hear when the podcast was coming on and when she was talking about the whole rape case that was going on. And so it it really felt like you were listening to an actual like newscast or podcast about a trial that's been going on, and you're literally listening to it live, you know, like you feel like you're part of it. But then it goes into, you know, the rape case and all that other stuff. And granted, I don't like anything with rape in it, but this one was a 5-star read. And now listening to the audiobook on top of it, it's like a 10-star. It was so good. It was definitely something that I recommend reading and I recommend listening to. So I read it the previous month, I listened to it the month after that, and I don't regret my decisions at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I got my hands on it through Libby for the audio version. So if you're interested in it, definitely check it out because it's a 5-star read for me, but listening to it the following month on audiobook, 10-star. It was so good. It was so good. So good. And I'm glad that I reread it or re-listened to it because I feel like I just wasted my time with the soulmate. So reading it and then listening to it the following month of the night swim, I feel like I kind of like wiped away that bad juju of that. Oh, and there's one more book I gotta talk about. I did have a DNF. I DNF'd a book. Oh. For the book, 1970 to 79, I picked Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. And this one was a DNF after 60 pages. I could not stand it. I don't know if it was about the writing style or what the deal was. I was not vibing with it in the slightest. And no way was I vibing with it. It was a struggle. I guess the Celeste Ng is not, I don't know. I don't know if it's, please tell me if it's just that book, but I feel like everybody loves this book. And I feel like I'm being hard on it, and so I'm like, did I was I too quick to DNF this? Because after reading The Soulmate and not DNFing it, and I regret not DNFing it, I'm kind of like, did I DNF this book too soon with only 60 pages going in? I don't know. I was struggling with it. I was falling asleep. I could not get with the storyline. I struggled. So I DNF'd a book. I read 25 books and then I DNF'd one book. So it would have been 26 if I finished it. But it was a struggle. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I feel bad for DNFing a book. This is like my first ever DNF. Okay. I am done. This is the wrap up for May. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Gotta finish my wine. Hold on. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me in this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.